The Chrono Crusaders were a group of adventurers who traveled through time to prevent history from being rewritten. They rode on a time machine that looked like a giant clock, and were armed with futuristic weapons. Their mission was to protect the timeline from those who sought to manipulate it for their own gain. Their latest mission took them to ancient Egypt, where they discovered that a powerful sorcerer had traveled back in time to alter the course of history. The sorcerer had taken control of the pharaoh's mind, and was using him to build a massive army of undead soldiers. The Chrono Crusaders arrived just in time to witness the sorcerer's army rise from the sands. The undead soldiers were armed with ancient weapons, and were marching towards the city of Thebes. The adventurers knew that they had to act fast if they were going to stop the sorcerer and his army. They split up into two groups, with one group heading towards the pharaoh's palace to confront the sorcerer, while the other group stayed behind to hold off the army of the undead. The battle was intense, with the Chrono Crusaders using their futuristic weapons to fight off the ancient army. They were outnumbered and outmatched, but they fought on, determined to protect the timeline. Meanwhile, the other group had made it to the pharaoh's palace, where they found the sorcerer performing a dark ritual. They engaged him in battle, but he was a powerful sorcerer, and he proved to be a formidable opponent. Just when it seemed like the Chrono Crusaders were about to be defeated, a strange twist occurred. The sorcerer suddenly vanished, and the undead army collapsed into dust. Confused and disoriented, the adventurers regrouped and returned to their time machine. As they traveled back to their own time, they realized that something had changed. The timeline had been altered, but they couldn't figure out how. It wasn't until they arrived back in their own time that they discovered the truth. The sorcerer had not been working alone. He had been aided by a rogue member of their own team, who had traveled back in time to help him. The Chrono Crusaders were shocked and betrayed. They had been fighting to protect the timeline, only to discover that one of their own had been working against them. In the end, the rogue member was brought to justice, and the timeline was restored. But the Chrono Crusaders knew that they could never again trust anyone completely. They had learned the hard way that even the best of intentions could lead to disastrous consequences.